Welcome to the Friday Trends Special. I'm Doug Grunther, and I'm here with the publisher of the Trends Journal, Gerald Celente. Tonight's topic, no time for peace. Well, I guess with that subject, we should toast each other first with a drink. Good to see you, Gerald.
Pace y amore.
I like the sound of that.
Peace and love.
Well, interestingly, last December, as you do every December, you come out with what you feel are going to be the top 10 trends for the upcoming year. And one of them had to do with what you predicted was the likelihood of a war building in the Middle East. Here we are 7 months into the year. Is there more of a chance for war in the Middle East or less?
Well, look what's going on. The current events form future trends. You saw what happened just a week ago, last Sunday. The president of Iran warned America, don't tug on the lion's tail. And we could have the mother of all peace or the mother of all wars. And what did Trump tweet back? You mess with us, it's going to be the worst war in the history of the world, part 1 and part 2. Mm-hmm. And that other guy, Pompeo, the
Secretary of State.
Yes, Secretary of State. What a joke. What a freak show. He comes out and says the United States is going to put a 24/7 Farsi news agency on to educate the Iranian people to overthrow their country, basically. You talk, that those Russians hacked into the DNC, But here, without one piece of evidence, by the way. But here, the evidence is clear. The United States is covertly and overtly attacking Iran. They are looking for a regime change.
Now, interestingly, you point out that on the other side is not just the United States and Israel, but Saudi Arabia. I understand, and you can talk about, the relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States, three-letter word, oil. How does Israel fit into this?
Well, Israel and Iran, Iran doesn't believe that Israel should be there. They don't believe in the Rothschild story and the Balfour Agreement and throwing out the Palestinians. So they've always had that conflict. And you remember Netanyahu warning with the cartoon bomb in the UN going back, 5 years ago, mm-hmm. that Iranians are gonna blow up. They got a bomb ready to go. So Israel now, you think about it, Israel being in an alliance with Saudi Arabia. Oh, that doesn't talk about peace. Nobody talks about what's going on in Yemen. The Saudis started the war, launched it in 2014 from Washington. Their ambassador to the United States from Washington in 2014, when the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner Obama was president, announces that they're going to attack, or maybe it was 2015, I may have a year off. They're going to overthrow the Houthi government in Yemen because they don't like them. They've killed over 20,000 Yemeni people. It's the worst humanitarian crisis, according to the UN, today, and it doesn't make the news. Hey, how about that Stormy Daniels? Hey, you hear those tapes that came out about Cohen? I saw it on CNN. Nobody talks about it. There's no time for peace. The United States and Israel and Saudi Arabia are ramping up wars against Iran. You can see it coming. This is a quote from the administration. We're going to bring Iran's oil exports, what number they want to bring it down to?
No.
0, their quote. So that's economic war. It's a war. They've already started a war. They're bringing the country down to nothing. But again, it's not making any of the news. But trade wars, they're everywhere. Trade wars, watch out for those trade wars. But murderous wars, the United States has killed millions of people, spent tens of trillions of our dollars just since 2001. And nobody cares. No peace movements anywhere.
Well, a lot of it is it's not being even reported. Look, you and I grew up in the revolutionary times of the 60s, but we had a war going on that successfully was protested against. Took a long time, but it was a very specific war and it was the television. It was the televised version of that war that got people riled up. They saw it on TV. As you point out, what we see on TV every night is did Trump have an affair with a model or not?
Yeah. And again, you go back to 1970s and 60s. Why were there protests? Because
Well,
you and I were getting
because of
drafted.
draft,
Yeah. Now they're not just the poor kids, and the kids, the socially deprived kids, are going to find a future, a lot of them. So nobody cares about them.
So,
And the other thing about that as well is that not only was the Vietnam War on TV, they didn't have a thing called embedded reporters. So they're in bed. They're in bed. They're prostitutes. They're not reporters. They even call it embedded reporters. In other words, they're getting it, right? Or putting it out. So there's no freedom of the press. Oh, we can't show any dead bodies. Remember, they used to show all the dead bodies coming in the caskets. No more. Oh, and we're going to bring democracy around the world. Yeah, that's why we're blowing it all up, and we're losing it over here.
by the way, if you ask a tough question to the president, you get banned.
Yeah, well, it's a freak show.
So,
It's the greatest freak show on earth.
so of all the places, the hot places around the world to keep an eye on,
It's Iran.
It seems like it's the Middle East and Iran.
Iran, yeah.
And,
Oh, in Syria.
right.
Yeah, because Israel could bomb Syria anytime they want. They could blow planes out of the air and do it and call it, well, it was over the Golan Heights. Oh, you mean occupied territory that you stole from Syria, and they're saying it wasn't there. But Israel keeps attacking Syria, and Netanyahu, not my words, his, he will not permit Iran to have military bases or a continuing presence in Syria.
So let's talk about how this translates into economics, because that's where people will start paying attention. This is going to have, what's going on and brewing up in the Middle East is going to have a huge effect, already has, on gas prices, oil, etc. Talk about that a little.
Well, we've been writing about it. It's in our trends, and it was our top trend of one of them in 2018, mass murder market shock. And what's going on is that you have a war over there, you're going to have market shock because already now Brent crude's around $75 a barrel. This thing goes over 80, hits 100, kiss the economies around the world goodbye. Dollar's getting stronger, right? Mm-hmm. Petrodollar, oil's based in dollars. Places like India, their rupee is down over 7% against the dollar this year. Oil prices go up, the currency's going down, it even costs them more to buy. So you're going to have a crisis. If there's war in the Middle East, the Chinese economy, they're just dumping more money into it now to keep it floating. They're the biggest buyers of oil. If oil prices go up, this weak economy goes down.
So knowing that the Chinese are going to have something to say about that, what's going on under the surface? I mean, they're just not. Are they just sitting back and hoping nothing's going to
That's
happen?
funny you
You
ask
got
me
to
that.
believe they're being proactive.
Yeah, they are. They're different. Yeah. This is just, yes, this is, yeah. Cuba and China vowed further strengthening ties and deepening their friendship. Chinese President Xi on Tuesday called on China and South Africa to continue striving to develop closer ties and join hands. Rwandans from all walks of life spoke highly of President Xi's state visit to the African country. This is July 24th. This is all recent stuff. Yeah, July 22nd. Xi attends handover ceremony of Senegal's national wrestling arena. UAE, United Arab Republic, China's Xi welcome ceremony. This is July 20th.
Okay, so what is he trying
One more.
to? He's
Chinese and Serbian companies form association to boost economic ties. The business of China is business. While America is bombing, destroying, and mutilating countries and people, they're doing business. So the business of China is business. The business of America is war. China's going to buy oil from Iran. They're going to continue going. But as the United States focuses on fear and terror, the Chinese are taking over the world.
economically.
Economically.
And it's smart because Africa's filled with resources, and Nigeria is a big oil producer.
All over the place, yeah. And they need the natural resources.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on.
So where do you see us going from here to the end of the year? Is there any hope
No.
that people will get wind of this and try to change the
Lack of
course
hope.
events?
Lack of hope and change you could believe in.
That's why you're drinking Campari with
yeah,
a little more
well,
vodka in it?
Yeah, well, we launched Occupy Peace, and now we've just launched the Occupy Peace Festival. Because I realize people don't want to hear just people speaking about anti-war, because there's no anti-war movements going on. And Occupy Peace was the only peace program with a platform, an action plan. Bring home the troops. By the way, how many troops? What? United States in over 80 countries with 800 bases.
That's right.
Yeah, well, China's building infrastructure and business. So bring home the troops, put the troops to work rebuilding our rotted infrastructure, 21st century WPA program, Troops Progress Administration, force Congress to vote to war, which they haven't done since World War II, and have referendums on each state ballot where we'll tell the congressmen how to vote, and congresswomen and senators, because we're the ones that pay for the war with our money and our lives. We got virtually very little support. So we figured we'd launch an Occupy Peace Festival. Take a look at this beautiful poster that the magnificent artist Anthony Frieda put together for us. We're going to hold it in Uptown Kingston. We closed down the streets. Derek Osinenko, our CEO, got all the permits to close down the streets. Mm-hmm. And we're having a festival, music, Occupy Peace. Liberty, love, joy, and beauty, join the evolution. Vendors, arts, crafts, food, music, speakers. We canceled it.
No support.
Very little support, next to nothing.
Until, if Vietnam is a precedent, until we see every night on the news the destruction going on, much of which we're causing, I don't see much hope for a movement to happen.
And unless they bring back the draft, that's the only way it's going to happen.
Talk about skin in the game.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna leave a little room for hope.
I hope. Hope's the most negative word in the metaphysical dictionary.
Is that right?
It means wanting something to happen without doing anything to make it happen.
Okay, so what word are you going to replace hope with?
Action.
You have a quote somewhere around here. I saw it this morning as we were getting ready from, I think it's Samuel Adams, one of the founding fathers.
Oh, yeah.
It said, it's never a majority that creates change.
It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the hearts of men.
That's a wonderful phrase. How come we weren't taught that in history?
Yeah.
You know? We were taught history. I remember a few battles and a few generals' names. I don't remember that quote coming up.
The only way this country is going to thrive and survive is if we bring back liberty, love, joy, and beauty, a renaissance, and you cannot have that in a state of fear and terror.
Well, Gerald, I have a hard time believing that you would give up on anything you consider important. So is there a future for Occupy Peace?
Oh, sure there is. We're just taking a little break here. We formed a foundation, a non-for-profit. We have other people developing and helping us push it forward. We have a board of directors, so we're moving forward with it. We're just taking a pause, and we're trying to build more support to push it forward at a much higher level and in a different direction. But no, at my age, I don't have a lot of years left, I'm that far and I got that much left. I want to check out of here creating peace. And that's my objective, my goal, and my life. So no, we haven't stopped. We're going to move forward with it. And we're just changing the direction a little bit and building a bigger foundation.
So do you anticipate having an Occupy Peace Festival in Kingston?
Oh, absolutely, but not only in Kingston. Occupy Peace Festivals around the world. It's Woodstock from now until eternity.
Looking forward to that. Gerald, it's always a pleasure having a conversation with you. Always learn something. This is Doug Grunther, and this has been the Friday Trends